So you have to, first of all, understand that most big companies out there, all the conglomerates, the way they run is there is what we call a holding company, or what you call the parent typically. Okay, so there's a holdco, and then underneath there are all these subsidiaries. So you can call this holdco, you can call this parent, you can call these opcos, operating companies, you can call them subsidiaries. It's the same thing. Okay? So the holding company would have a balance sheet, of course, and they have assets and they have liabilities. So they have, basically they have debt. So they have senior debt and they would have junior debt, just like any ordinary company. And they also have equity. And typically when you go to the stock market and you are buying shares of something, you are buying shares of the holdco. Okay, unless they have a spin-off or something and they sell one of their subsidiaries. So normally, and then the operating company also has a similar structure where they have assets and they have liabilities, and likewise they have senior debt and they would have junior debt or subordinated debt, and they also have equity. Okay, is everyone okay so far? Yeah. Now the way it works is at the subsidiary level, these assets, they really are assets. They are factories, shopping malls, warehouses, machinery, inventory, the stocks that you have, depending on what you're making. Okay, so these are real assets, properties, hardware, machines, and so on. So these are real assets. And then at the parent level, okay, now so I already told you that the equity here is normally what is traded in the market. What do you think are the assets mostly of the parent company? What do you? The shares of, very good. And that really, thank you, that is the key point, okay? The assets of the parent are basically all the shares of the operating company. That is how they control the subsidiary, because they are the major shareholder legally, okay? So you have a problem. Imagine if one day this enterprise completely collapsed and you are the bondholders at the parent level. Doesn't matter you are senior or junior, never mind that, okay? But what's going to happen is the process is, so they go bankrupt. So the shareholders are out, forget them, okay? And then the CEO and the board, they're out. And they will typically appoint what are called liquidators, okay? Not terminators, liquidators, okay? Although it's kind of similar. Qingpan, is that right? People like the big four typically, and so Price Waterhouse and Coopers. So they will come in, they will take over the company, they will seize all the assets, and they will sell them, and they pay off the creditors, they pay off the bondholders. That's how it works. That's how it works now. The thing is, at the parent level, So the senior bondholders here, they can only claim on the assets of the parent company. What are the assets of the parent company? Well, they are the shares of the subsidiaries. So what you do is you go from here, you come over here, and from here, you come down here, which means please join the queue because you are subordinated, you are structurally subordinated, good morning, to even the junior bondholders at the subsidiary level, because you are technically you are an equity holder now, and this is probably not really worth a lot. Now, how much it is worth really depends on what happens at the subsidiary level. So you're going to start claiming on this one. So you claim on this one. There's not really a lot to claim except the shares of the subsidiaries. So you come down here, you start claiming on that, and what then happens, now I'm going to talk about the subsidiary, okay? Now, in a bankruptcy, so if a company was running well, I'm going to give you a before and after. So when they go bankrupt, it's never a good thing. So if it's running well, you have a normal looking balance sheet and everyone's happy. But when a company goes bankrupt, it basically means the assets cannot even pay the liabilities because there's been serious, there's a name for that, okay? So it's asset value impairment. I mean, these are all just English words. It means that you took a hit and the asset value has dropped now. So forget about the equity guys. So they're out anyway, okay? Let's say imagine you start with 100, and there's so $50 is in senior debt, $25 is in junior debt, and another $25 is in, or was in, equity, okay? And imagine we had some kind of global financial catastrophe, and now it's down to $48. So 52% of the assets have basically evaporated. Okay, now these are just hypothetical numbers. Just bear with me for a moment. So what you're going to find is that for the senior bondholders, so they lend $50 to this operating company, and the junior bondholders lend 25. So this is a senior. So like I said, forget about the equity guys. So they're so see you later, okay? Now here's the problem. So the liquidation process works like this. So like I said, typically the big accounting firms will come in, they take over everything, and they are the ones who are in charge of selling the assets. And then they need to sit together with all the bondholders, senior and junior, okay, all of them, and the conversation will probably go something like this. All right, well, we have taken over this company and we determined that for now, if you were to sell all the assets, it would come to $48. So the way the senior guys would react, they would say, oh yes, well that means we only lose $2. Well, that's actually not too bad. And they will give instructions to the liquidator, okay, please sell and sell right away, okay, as fast as you can. Now, if you are a junior bondholder, how do you feel? You've lost all your money anyway, right? You've lost all your money, and you are thinking, well hold on a second, okay? You say to the liquidator, well, how about you just wait a little bit? In fact, I am questioning your judgment to sell right now because it might not be the best price. I think market conditions are not good. So they will try to do everything they can to get the liquidator to delay the liquidation in the hope that it's kind of like a free option, okay? That when asset values recover, they might at least get something, because now they get nothing anyway. So what is the harm in waiting? Okay, so you constantly have these two conflicts. So as a result, if you're a senior bondholders, what you would prefer is that these guys are not even here. So that means if you're a senior bondholder, and I will say this slowly, you would prefer there is no contractual subordinated bondholders behind you. Even though they are subordinated to you, you don't even want them in the room. You don't want them at the negotiating table because they will try to delay the process. Are you with me? Yeah? Now, of course, if that is what the senior, if the senior bondholder doesn't want you to be there, if you are the junior, you want to be there because your interests and their interests are opposite. You want to have a seat on the table. They don't want you to be there, okay? Because what they want is good for them, and what you want is good for you. And that kind of explains, I hope, it explains this question and this one, okay? So the first question, why a senior bondholder would prefer structural? Because a senior bondholder does not want to have contractually subordinated bondholders behind them in the queue or sitting together at the same table in the negotiation room, okay? That's the answer. Now, as to the second one, why would a senior bondholder even care whether there are junior bondholders? Well, it's kind of, it's the same answer, because they can really make the process difficult for you, for the senior bondholders in a negotiation. Okay? Is everyone okay with that? I think this point is worth explaining. It is something that may not be, immediately obvious to you. So I want to share that with you. Okay. Now let me try and grab a couple more questions. So this is one of them. Actually, this came through to me on WhatsApp. So I just typed it. What is the difference between a perpetual capital security